Hello, EveryDF, and welcome to the New York Sneaselcuse draft analysis for the SBC Season 3. If you don't know, the SBC that stands for the Safari Battle Camp. This is a Pokemon draft league that we are joining for its third season. We're also joining with a new team. If you're keeping track at home, this is the 7th draft league team under the ODF banner, and there's one more after this, if I'm being told. I'm gonna slide that into the ODF lore. There's one more team, but I'm not going to talk about that because you're here for the league, not for me. Well, hopefully you're here for me. I'd be kind of sad if you weren't, but you're also here for the league. If you don't know what a draft league is, I'll quickly summarize it. It's kind of like drafting players in American football. I don't understand how that works, but basically, you pick 12 Pokemon. They're like tiers. Tier 1's really good. Tier 5 isn't really good, and out of those 12 Pokemon, those are the only 12 you're allowed to use. No one else can use them, and everyone has their own 12. And then you battle a bunch of other people in the league. You get differentials. There's 10 weeks a season, so we will have 10 battles. Then the top out of 12 teams, the top 8 with the highest differential will move on to playoffs, which will be a knockout tournament. That's the basic rundown. Normally I go into more depth, but I've done so many draft analysis at this point, and odds are you know what Pokemon Draft League is. I'm really excited. New York Sneaselcuse, their very first debut team. This is a really cool Discord server. I'm really happy that I'm a part of it. Everyone on it's really nice, and I'm very much looking forward to the future of this league and stuff. So, one more thing, I joined the Liepard Division. There were 2 divisions, the Rhyhorn and Liepard. There's also Bouffant, that's a VGC, and I don't like VGC. Liepard's the harder division, actually. It's I'm not sure how much harder. Well, it's the better players went to Liepard, and I just signed up for Liepard because I thought I had a better chance to get into the league because less people had signed up for Liepard. I'm not the best draft league battler. I have made playoffs once in a competitive league, a while ago, not even recently, and I normally finish seasons with less wins than losses. But top 8 teams out of 12 make it to playoffs. And if we can make it to playoffs, I will be ecstatic. It is going to be a tough season, but I believe that we can do it. Because I drafted a pretty busted team. I would probably put this as top, maybe the best draft I've ever made. There's definitely a few weaknesses in there, but it's pretty good for me, definitely. But anyway, without further ado, let's hop into it. New York Sneaselcuse, we drafted 12 Pokemon. I had the 12th pick overall. There were 12 teams in the league, as I already mentioned. So 11 Pokemon were picked, then it was me, but I got to pick 2 at a time. So one Pokemon was left over was a Pokemon I really wanted to draft for a really long time. I play in the NDBL mostly, which is the NatDex Battle League, currently doing Season 4, if you want to check that out, it's also on my channel. And one of the best players in that is someone called Sir Kill. And every single chance they get, they draft Tapu Koko. Tapu Koko is a really great Pokemon. First of all, electric types are always really important to have in draft. So are fairy types, so this already ticks 2 of those boxes straight away. Tapu Koko is incredibly fast. I think base 140 or 130 speed. It's always nice to have a very, very fast Pokemon. It can hit very hard. It's got Volt Switch and U-Turn, Dazzling Gleam, Nature's Madness if you want to fire that off. Very fast. It's a bit frail and it does have a ground weakness. That's probably the weakest point in my draft. We've got a pretty substantial ground weakness within our first 4 picks, which are normally your strongest. But Tapu Koko can hopefully do a lot this whole season. It's very hard-hitting, very good. It's a Tier 1 Pokemon, very solid. The next Pokemon I wanted was a Steel type, because Fairy Dragon Steel is a core you always want to get in draft. And one Steel type, I was modeling this draft a little bit after Sir Kill, as you might, well, at least the first 2 picks, definitely. And one Pokemon Sir Kill loves to put with Tapu Koko is Stakataka. Stakataka, apart from having the most fun name to say in the entire Pokemon Pantheon, it's a very, very good Pokemon. It has that 4 times weakness to ground, which now 2 of our Pokemon are weak to, which isn't great. However, it does make up for that with its insane defense stats. It's very defensive, bulky. It can't take an Earthquake because it's 4 times weak to ground. However, this thing can sweep teams with Trick Room. It's got an insanely low speed, so we got the 2, I think it's got base 30 speed or something, so we've got 2 ends of the speed tiers, which is great. It adds us a Rock type, adds a good Stealth Rocker, it adds a Poison immunity, I think it gets Rapid Spin as well. It also gets Beast Boost, so you can boost its defenses. In Trick Room, this thing is a monster because of how slow it is, and it's just got, I really like its design. I think it's got a great design. Hopefully these 2 will work really well. I was surprised that someone is actually in tier 3. I thought it was a tier 2, so I kind of probably could have gotten better Pokemon earlier, but I'm still happy with getting Stack Attacker. Because I got a tier 2, I decided to go up to tier 1. Tier 3, I went up to tier 2, sorry. With my next pick, I'm going into tier 3 now, just to make sure that's clear. My next pick was, so in the NDBL currently, my poison type is, I know this. It is a poison type that does not touch the ground, because you need a ground and poison type to get rid of toxic spikes, and I do not have that in that league. I'm totally blanking on what my poison type in that league is. But in this league, I got a grounded poison type. There are two Pokemon that I absolutely hate playing against in draft. That's Celesteela and Toxapex. So I drafted Toxapex to kind of be my, so I don't have to deal with it, mostly. Other thing is that Regenerator, it is incredibly bulky. It does have that ground type weakness again, which even my next Pokemon does have, which is very, very worrying. But pretty much the rest of my draft can all deal with ground types. Very bulky, pretty slow again, but good at Skull, good at like Baneful Bunkering, good at Toxicking. It's basically it's the exact opposite of Tapu Koko. Tapu Koko gets in, does a lot of damage, and probably dies quickly. Toxapex, unless they have like a really good way to deal with it, kind of just sits there. And even if they have a way to deal with it, it can Baneful Bunker in their face, which is always nice. Next up, I was looking for a Mega. I wanted to get a pretty decent Mega, and I have a Fairy and Steel, so I need Dragon, and I have a Water, so I need Fire and Grass for those cores. And one Pokemon kind of ticked both of those boxes, and I was surprised it was a tier 2 Mega when in all the other leagues I've been in, this thing is tier 1. So it was very busted to get Mega Charizard X. I am not the biggest Charizard fan in the world, if I'm being totally honest. It is one of my least favorite Pokemon. Hopefully Mega Charizard X can kind of change my opinion on that. First of all, it has a pretty awesome design. It gives us a Dragon type, so we don't have that 4 times weakness to Rock, which is nice. However, we trade that off for a extra ground weakness, which is not nice because Earthquake Spam just rips through everything on my team right now. The rest of my draft does deal with ground types, but I might actually have to swap out one of these Pokemon. I'm not ruling out making free agent trades. I might do that. I know in the past I haven't, but I'm gonna say that I might in this league. Because of how intense it is being in a higher division. Also, I didn't mention this earlier, but credits to the person who made these, the logo of the Liepard Division, the SBC logo, and the template for this should be in the description. If it's not, please yell at me in the comments to put it in there, because they deserve credit. Yeah, Mega Charizard, this thing, I've said a few bad things about it, but basically this thing, Flare Blitz off of this thing hits like a truck, and so few things, like if maybe a Quagsire or Seismitoad want to take it, nothing else does. And if I go up against Quagsire, I don't think emotionally I could deal with killing it. Mega Charizard X is incredibly powerful, great Dragon type, great Fire type, and pretty much the rest of my draft now needs to be working around getting rid of that ground type weakness. Also, pretty middle speed tier. I think it's base 100 speed. So that helps because we had quite a slow team bar Tapu Koko before. Next up, draft number 5. So basically I got Tapu Koko Stack Attacker first round, Toxapex Mega Charizard second round. I wanted a good normal type. I think normal types are very important in draft. While they do have that weakness to fighting, being able to be immune to ghost types is great, and just hit pretty much everything for neutral damage, bar Rock, Steel, and fighting types is also great. And I wanted like another bulky mon. I wanted one that could take Earthquakes quite well. You already know who I'm going to say. I got Snorlax. I love Snorlax. This Pokemon's design is so good. I'm not a big fan of playing against it. I was actually in the finals of a Metronome League a while ago, and spoiler alert, the NDBL Season 1, MDBL, not the NDBL, they're very similar names. Snorlax is what basically ruined my chance at getting the championship, which sucked. But Snorlax and I, we can still be bros, we can still be friends. Incredibly bulky Pokemon, again very slow, it got a pretty slow team. But it can deal with Earthquakes very well because it's very bulky, which is great. So as long as it's not like a ground fighting type, which I don't think exists, it probably does, we should be fine. It gets access like Earthquake, high horsepower, it can leftovers, it can rest, obviously. Everybody knows Snorlax is famous for resting. In the anime, it can have more than 5 moves, not in the game, sadly, but That could be cool. Next up is Decidueye. I didn't do any build-up for that. I've wanted to draft Decidueye. I'm going to do some build-up. The next Pokemon that I am revealing is one I've wanted to draft for quite a while. I almost drafted it in the NDBL Season 4. I decided not to. I got a Rotom Mow instead. But this one works quite well. It is a Ghost type, so we have that normal type immunity. And it's a Grass type, so it finishes off that Fire Water Grass core. It is Decidueye. Did any of you see that coming? I bet not. Decidueye is another slow Pokemon. It's faster than its Stack Attack and Toxapex, but it's still pretty slow. This thing can Spirit Shackle to keep things in. It's got Pluck to get rid of like berries and stuff. Very decent Pokemon, very solid. I'm excited to use it in this league. Hopefully it does quite well. I used Primarina a while ago, and Primarina was actually in the team that made it to playoffs of the league. So I'm a big fan of the Alola starters, and hopefully Decidueye can prove itself as awesome as Primarina is. I didn't do this build up again. Next up is a ground type. Ground types are vital in draft. They're definitely the one that I think is the most important to get like a good offensive ground type. And for that, this season, I chose Donphan. Looking at the first half of the team, it's a very top-heavy draft. Because we have 5 really great Pokemon and Decidueye, and now we have Donphan. Donphan is not the fastest. It's base 50 speed, so we have quite low speed tiers. Of course, it gets access to Rapid Spin, which is great for hazard removal. Decidueye also gets Defog. It gets Stealth Rocks. It can Earthquake, which is most important. It can also Ice Shard, so it can throw down with other ground types pretty fairly. I also just love Donphan as a Pokemon. I mean, look at that thing. How can you not love it? It's adorable. It is one of my favorite Pokemon, just purely based off design. I think it's great. Another Pokemon whose design I love, the next pick, I'm actually going to build up to this one properly. I've actually used this Pokemon in playthroughs before. I think it's a really great fighting type. It's definitely one of the lower tier fighting types, but fighting types are important mostly for taking like knockoffs, hitting the bulky normal types. We have the bulkiest of normal types, the Snorlax, but there are other ones like Miltank and Blissey out there who we want ways to deal with. Also, dealing with like steel and rock types is always nice to be able to do, and one way to do that is with Passimian. I love Passimian. We have a very Alola team. This is our 5th Alola Pokemon. I'm pretty sure it's our last. No, it's not actually. There's one more, at least. So never mind. Passimian has pretty decent speed. Choice Scarf, this thing is very fast, obviously, because it's Choice Scarf. Close Combat is great on this thing. I'm pretty sure it also has access to U-Turn. I once lost to a player called Super Saiyan Pit because of their Passimian, and I've always thought it's a very solid fighting type since then. And I'm excited to see its use on this team. Next up, so if you haven't noticed so far, we've actually got a quite diverse team for like types. We've got an Electric, Fairy, Rock, Steel, Poison, Water, Fire, Dragon, Normal, Ghost, Grass, Ground, and Fighting, which is like 13 types. And at this point, I was kind of thinking, hang on a minute, I could get all 18 types in the game on my team. I could actually pull that off. So I wanted to do that, and two types that I needed were Psychic and Bug, and I thought, there's not a whole lot of Psychic Bug types out there. Where am I going to find one? But then one came to me like a vision from an angry god. You already probably, I've said Psychic Bug types. There's not a whole lot of those, and it's not Dottler. I got Orbeetle. I'm excited to use this thing. I think it's a really cool. First of all, it's got a really cool design. I really like it. I think it's access to Rapid Spin, which is always nice. Sticky Webs are always great to set up against opposing teams, especially with how important speed is in draft. Being able to hit with like Stab, Psychic, and Bug type moves is always really nice. So it's our own way to deal with Psychic types quite decently, and our own Psychic type. Again, I'm pretty sure it gets access to Giga Drain for ground types, but Bug just naturally resists ground types. We're not too worried about knockoff with this thing because it takes knockoff decently well because of its Bug typing. I think Bug resists Dark. Anyway, yeah, and next up, I actually got another Water type. I needed another fast Pokemon because I looked at my team and we were quite slow. Bar Tapu Koko and maybe Charizard, everything on my team was decently slow, so I wanted something really fast. Something to help Tapu, so not all the weight was on Tapu Koko. Tapu Koko's got strong shoulders, but not quite strong enough. So I got another water type, a very fast water type, and which also added the dark type to our team. I got Sharpedo. Sharpedo works really well for our team for a wide range of reasons, actually. First of all, people can't spam like future sights and psychics against us because Sharpedo is totally immune. People can't Volt Turn, or Volt Turn they can probably do, but they can't U-Turn and Flip Turn against us because those are physical moves and we have a rough skin and they have to take chip damage if they do that. We have a water type that is not weak to ground and is actually very good at dealing with ground types, so Sharpedo is great at that. And it adds that speed that we so desperately needed on this team. Sharpedo hits every possible category we could have needed it to hit. Like, if it could remove hazards, which it can't, it would have been somehow even more perfect, but I don't think really there was a Pokemon that could have fit on the team any better than Sharpedo. We have another Alola Pokemon next. This is a very Alola heavy draft. This is the last one, I swear. Only half the draft are Alola Pokemon. We need an Ice type. I think Ice types are incredibly important for Draft League, and I only had enough points at this point for 2 tier 5s, because there was like a point-based section of the draft. So one of the tier 5s that I chose was an Ice type. I was considering something like Abomasnow or Vanillux was on the table for a very long time, and I was really considering Vanillux. I decided not to because I think Vanillux works better with like hail teams, and our team doesn't have any specific weather about it. But the ice type that does work and also adds another fighting type to the list is Crabominable. Crabominable isn't the most popular Pokemon. I really like it. It being an ice type, first of all, adds another way for us to deal with ground types. That gives us at least 3 Pokemon that are very solid at dealing with ground types. Ground rock types also don't want to go up against Crabominable because it's got that fighting typing. Very, very solid physical attack stat. Can hit really hard. Like, it's got its signature move Ice Hand, which just does insane ice type damage. Very great Pokemon to have on the team. Ice is just such a good offensive typing in draft, and even though Crabominable isn't like the most popular Pokemon, I think it can do pretty well on the team. Finally, if you look at the types, we have, I'm just going to count them up. With Tapu Koko, we have 2. So we have Electric, Fairy, Rock, Steel, Water, Poison, Dragon, Fire. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Dragon, Fire. Normal, Grass, Ghost, Ground, Fighting, Bug, Psychic, Dark, and Ice. We only needed one more typing. We were only missing one more typing, and that typing is Flying. We needed a ground type immunity, something that can really deal with ground types, and also I'm pretty sure this Pokemon gets Giga Drain as well. We got Yanmega. Yanmega is another tier 5. I've never really seen it in draft that much. I'm pretty sure it doesn't have the best moveset in the world, but I'm pretty sure it does have access to Giga Drain. It's got a really cool design. I do love its design so much. Decently fast, I'm pretty sure. It might be middle speed tier, but we got quite a few fast Pokemon already. Got that ground type immunity, which is so important with our team being pretty weak to ground with our first 4 picks, but the rest of us hopefully will be able to like, band together and deal with ground types. I only really realized the ground type weakness after the draft was done. I'm just very lucky that our remaining Pokemon dealt with ground so well. Yanmega does have that 4 times weakness to rock, which isn't great, but most of the rest of our team can deal with the rock quite well, bar Orbeetle and Charizard, but pretty much everything else on the team beats rock. So I'm not too worried about that. Anyway, yeah, that is going to be our team. The first ever edition of the New York Sneaselcuse. Thank you again to the person who made these this template, because it looks really cool to have the whole team there. I'm really excited to use them. Week 1 should be up soon. This video is definitely coming out late, so I'll work on getting this up as soon as possible, and then the following weekend you should be able to see the Week 1 battle. It's a 10-week season, so quite a long season ahead of us. I think with 12 teams, top 8 progressing, we need to get like 4 wins. 5 wins to guarantee a spot in playoffs. 4 wins to, I think, have a decent chance at it. But I might be wrong. It'll be tough, but I think we could definitely do it. Yeah, anyway. I'm going to leave that there for now. Thank you all so much for watching this team builder. If the people who created the league are here, thank you for letting me into the league. There's a decent chance you might be watching this. Anyway, yeah, thank you all so much for watching, everyone. I hope you all have a dog-tastic day. I will see you all in the next one, and ODF out. Goodbye.